Liverpool have absolutely bullied and dominated the champions of Europe at Anfield, winning 2-0. Real Madrid got schooled, and at points it was a little bit embarrassing. Even if you just look at the desire levels from the Liverpool players, the Real Madrid players look so lethargic, so apathetic. And this Liverpool side, it was a real big moment in my opinion. Yes, Liverpool played some hard sides. Leverkusen smashed them. You can talk about AC Milan as well. But Real Madrid, they got so many players that are world class. Obviously, the champions of Europe in their own right. And this Liverpool side not only beat them and nicked a result, you're always going to be able to do that at Anfield on some level. You're always going to be able to try and fight for something at Anfield. But the way Liverpool controlled the game, bullied them with possession, had so many opportunities in the second half. It really was an unbelievable result for Liverpool. It sets them up obviously nicely for the Man City game on the weekend, but ultimately in Europe as well. Is there a side that is going to be able to beat Liverpool in a knockout game in the semi-finals, the quarter-finals, to get to that Champions League final? I can't quite see it at the moment. I know it's early stages, and you can't quite rule out Real Madrid because they've lost more games than they've won in the Champions League so far. But they're still in the competition, which obviously alludes to the idea that the Champions League kind of rewards mediocrity more than it used to. This Liverpool side, absolutely outrageous. The first half was a little bit tepid. It was a little bit both sides trying to sort of box smart and be on the outside and keep an arm's length away from each other a little bit. If there's one moment that exemplifies the Liverpool kind of first half performance, it's when Mbappe gets a load of space on the left-hand side running towards the Liverpool goal, and Conor Bradley kind of almost runs past everyone and puts a huge tackle on Mbappe, clears him out. It is the kind of tackle you'd have seen 20 years ago all the time in Premier League football, in European football. You don't get it much now for obvious reasons because of the referees, but it was a clean tackle. It was a beautiful tackle, and Conor Bradley... Look, there's going to be a lot of plaudits for McAllister's goal. Probably could have had a couple of a brace himself. Salah, of course, Gakpo, Diaz. Conor Bradley was, if you take the kind of goal scorers out of it, was man of the match for me. He was absolutely outrageous. It was surely the biggest moment in his career. I know he's picked up silverware in his time before, but to do what he did against Real Madrid, being involved in the first goal as well at such a young age. And the irony is that obviously Trent, obviously coming back from a slight injury, might be available for the Man City game now that Conor Bradley looks like he's done his hamstring. But the irony is that obviously Trent's been linked to Real Madrid in recent months. It's a deal that I could see happening in terms of his age profile, wanting to go there, while he's still young, in my opinion. Conor Bradley advertised himself to Liverpool fans all over the world and to Arne Slot that he's more than capable of being a deputy for Trent and then replacing Trent. They're different stylistically. Conor Bradley's far better defensively, but going forward, he offers an element of physicality that Trent doesn't quite have. Trent's a very physical, marauding right back, but his quality on the ball, he drops deeper to whip things around the pitch. Conor Bradley is just so aggressive. He's maybe a little bit closer to Kyle Walker as a fullback, really, than Trent Alexander-Arnold or Reece James, that kind of physical outside right back. Unbelievable today, and that tackle in the first half was absolutely incredible. When McAllister scored, I sort of had to applaud it. I thought the way they worked that goal for the McAllister, it was a little 1-2, and he bends it into the, he flicks it past the keeper, past Courtois, a little 1-2 around the corner. I had to applaud. It was so confident. It was full of confidence. It was full of belief. It was such an ambitious goal, knocking the ball around this Real Madrid side, which is a little bit easy to do these days, of course. It's not a prime Real Madrid side, but still, the McAllister goal was really, really assured, really, really confident. There are ways of going into halftime. You can go into halftime frustrated, thinking you needed to have been 1-0 up, 2-0 up to shut the game off. It felt like when Liverpool came out in the second half, they just knew they were going to get that goal. It felt like a continuation of the progress they made in the first half. And obviously 10 minutes in, they kind of get that first goal. It should have been 1-1 really, because obviously Vasquez gets brought down by Robertson. It's a clear penalty. It's a European penalty, unfortunately, but it is a penalty. And Mbappe makes a real hash of it. He was poor all game, except for a great opportunity in the 90th minute where it gets deflected off McAllister's back. He was poor. He was slow. If you're going to keep comparing him to some of the greats, please stop. Please unsubscribe from the channel. He's a great of our time, of course he is. If you score multiple goals in World Cup finals and win World Cups and not even a Champions League, yeah, of course he's a great in the modern era. But he doesn't contribute enough right now. He doesn't get you off your seat. If he's the player that you're talking about, he should have had a couple of goals against Liverpool, and he should have been ripping that young Conor Bradley up. That's the reality, and he didn't do any of that, did he? He didn't do any of that, in my opinion. Misses the penalty. Kelleher, has been unbelievable. I know it was an easy save, relatively speaking, but the pressure under the lights is a big moment, and Kelleher is quickly growing into this kind of. If you see Alisson if FSG see Alisson as someone in their 30s, hard to offer a long-term deal, Saudi Arabia comes calling, MLS, whatever, Kelleher is now giving himself a bit like Conor Bradley, this kind of advertisement while there's injuries in the side to say, I'm not just a backup, I can actually be a long-term replacement for when these guys eventually move on, because he's been absolutely exceptional. I think he's kept 5 clean sheets so far in the competition, something like that, but he's been absolutely outrageous. His Liverpool side don't concede goals, really. It goes right under the radar because of their attacking flair, but they do not concede goals. Salah gets a penalty and misses it as well. It's a terrible penalty, laces it. I'm not sure what he was thinking. Was he a little bit too overconfident? Maybe it was a comment on how confident this Liverpool side were. I think if you need to score that goal, you're not trying to lace it and kind of slash across it with your laces. But I think it's maybe a sign of the confidence. I think Salah just thought he was going to bury it because they've been so good all game. Maybe that's just what it was. The ball gets whipped in. A great cross from Andy Robertson for Cody Gakpo. Came on for Darwin Núñez. It was a very, very good header. Of course, the referees had to allow Liverpool to celebrate it. They had to check it first. It was a perfectly good goal and everyone knew it in the stadium. And it was a great finish from Cody Gakpo, who keeps notching up goals throughout the season. Maybe not happy to not be starting this kind of game, or maybe not starting enough games. Good on the weekend as well. But it was a great header. And at that point, 2-0, I don't know what to say. I mean, they controlled Real Madrid. This is a Real Madrid side that's got the physicality of Camavinga, Modric, Bellingham in midfield. There were moments where Modric got on the ball and Liverpool were able to just soak up the pressure. They never exposed themselves. They were calm and collected. And then when Liverpool got on the ball, I mean, Curtis Jones, I'm an England fan through and through, and I don't ever consider Curtis Jones an option for England. I don't know why that is. Curtis Jones, a deep-lying kind of player that can link up play. He was absolutely fantastic. Alexis McAllister deserves a massive shout-out. Surely scoring against Real Madrid. You could see what it meant for him. He probably should have had a second as well. A little bit before that, he puts a huge ball in for Conor Bradley, who was all over the game in the second half. But McAllister was running the show at points, and it must have been an amazing moment for him to kind of come up to this level. He's been here for a couple of years, don't get me wrong. And he's playing against Modric. He's kind of outplaying Modric, obviously right at the end of his career. But McAllister was running things in this midfield. It was amazing to see. They've turned into a Rolls Royce in midfield. To do this against Real Madrid, to do it against Jude Bellingham's press, and it's not just Jude Bellingham, but the whole Real Madrid kind of press. Arda Güler was trying to get around players, and Brahim Diaz was dropping in as well. Liverpool were just able to knock it around. Virgil van Dijk, very, very underrated as a ball-playing centre-back as well. They kept control. They kept 66% possession. They dominated Real Madrid with the ball. And they sat back and they realised that Real Madrid are always going to have minutes in the game, always. That's just the nature of football. Real Madrid are always going to have the players to get their foot on the ball and have 15 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 12 minutes there. And they just sat back and they became a really hard kind of 4-5-1 to play against. It was almost a perfect performance. Again, the Champions League, the way it goes, it's hard to judge how important that is for Real Madrid because they can still be in the competition. But Liverpool, perfect start in the Champions League, perfect start basically in the Premier League. When will it end? Will it end? It might not end. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you made it this far, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you very, very soon.